In recent days, the situation surrounding a possible American attack on Iran has been marked by a sudden increase in the American military presence in the region and harsh rhetoric from the Donald Trump administration. On January 22nd, the President of the United States confirmed that a naval fleet is being sent to the Iranian coast. The core of the forces consists of an aircraft carrier strike group led by the Abraham Lincoln, which was deployed from the Indo-Iranian region in the Indian Ocean and is moving toward the Persian Gulf. In addition, 12 F-15E Strike Eagle fighter jets, along with refueling aircraft, tankers, and transport planes, have been deployed to air bases in Jordan. Strategic bombers, B-52 Stratofortress bombers, have arrived at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Under the supervision of American specialists, urgent maintenance has begun on Kuwait's Patriot air defense systems, where more than 5 United States military bases have been deployed. Additional batteries of Patriot 3 anti-aircraft systems are being sent to the region and to Israel for protection against possible retaliatory attacks. President Joe Biden has been lashing out at European leaders in Davos for hours over Greenland, but at the same time, he is preparing an airstrike of epic proportions on Iran. This is an operation with a dual mission. On one hand, to strike the Mullah regime, and on the other, to make a show of force to Europe so that he himself can take Greenland. A short while ago, it became known that the United States of America is deploying more than 10 additional terminal high-altitude area defense and Patriot air defense systems in Jordan, Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Oman, preparing for possible offensive operations against Iran. American aerial refueling aircraft are heading toward Europe. A fleet of multiple KC-135R aircraft. Military tankers took off from California and Maine, making a transatlantic flight to Europe. Some of these special mission aircraft are heading to Moron Air Base in Spain. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, sent a letter to the Prime Minister of Greenland, Jonas Gahr Store. National Security Council officials delivered copies of the letter to European ambassadors in Washington, according to Moon of Alabama. A copy was also given to a NewsHour journalist. Dear Jonas, since your country has decided not to award me the Nobel Peace Prize for ending 8 wars and more, I no longer feel obligated to think exclusively about peace, although that will always remain my primary goal. I can now consider what is best for the United States. Denmark cannot protect this country, Greenland, from Russia or China. Why do they have property rights if there are no written documents? It was just a ship that docked there hundreds of years ago, but we've seen our own ships dock there too. I've done more for NATO than anyone else since its founding, and now NATO needs to do something for the United States. The world isn't safe unless we have full and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump. Europe should counter Trump's expansionism with strong economic and military responses. Harsh tariffs on United States services, deploying troops to Greenland, and using United States soldiers as leverage are necessary. In a world of power, weakness means death. According to multiple news sources, reports from Washington and Alaska state that the 11th Airborne Brigade has alerted 2 battalions. 1,500 soldiers are to be ready to move toward the state of Minnesota. According to Malcolm Nance, a military intelligence expert, this is a really poor attempt at strategic deception. He has repeatedly warned this year that this unit's alert to deploy is a strong, clear sign of a possible invasion of Greenland. This also means the unit is on alert to deploy. This also means United States Special Operations Forces. Special Operations Forces, I units, they are probably being trained and mobilized for the mission to seize Greenland by force, he says. The White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller, said President Trump was clear, stating that he wants the United States to control Greenland. This is the American position. What more could the American president's side say to show they're doing everything to control the North Pacific? At the same time, the Danish Defense Intelligence Service warned Danish officials and government agencies to immediately stop using Bluetooth headsets and AirPods during work hours because of high espionage risks from American intelligence services. Military forces from European countries have been deployed to Greenland to take part in joint exercises with Denmark during a period of increased tension with the United States. The timing of the exercises coincides with recent statements by American President Donald Trump, who brought up the issue of acquiring the island again. The military exercise, called Arctic Endurance, is conducted under the command of Denmark and includes the participation of forces from NATO member states. Troops from France, Germany, Sweden, Norway, the Netherlands, and Canada are taking part in the operation, strengthening transatlantic and European cooperation in the region. French President Emmanuel Macron confirmed that the French military team is already in Greenland, noting that in the coming days, it will be reinforced with additional equipment and personnel as part of the country's participation in the exercises. European troops on the island symbolize solidarity and better coordination among partners. Donald Trump, obsessed with national security, is threatening tariffs on those who resist the annexation of Greenland, making it clear that the Europeans' military moves will not stop him. Congress is building walls. Liza Murkowski reminds everyone that Greenland is an ally, not a prize, while Chris Coons is promoting a bill to prevent an irrational invasion of a NATO ally. Danish and Greenland officials in Washington form working groups as Europe launches Operation Arctic Endurance. German, French, and Swedish troops are deploying on the frozen island. The Kremlin Moscow. However, it noted the island's political and strategic environment is growing more complex. The Kremlin spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, stated on Friday that Russia starts from the assumption that Greenland belongs to the Kingdom of Denmark, while at the same time observing a situation he described as very controversial and exceptional. This stance reflects a careful adjustment of Russian policy, recognizing existing borders, but also expressing concern about the escalation of rhetoric and the actions of other powers. Moscow recognizes Greenland as sovereign territory of Denmark. However, they point out, the strategic environment is more complex. Despite the formal recognition of the borders, the Kremlin expresses concern about the escalating tension in the Arctic, adjusting its policy to an uncertain reality where stability now seems like a distant illusion. Thank you for watching us. To be the first to receive all the latest updates, like and subscribe to our channel.